for the Musketeers before Big East play starts. And off we go on a Friday night here in Cincinnati. And Jim, you got a Xavier team that can really shoot it from the outside.
Yeah, they will look to do that pretty quickly as they go right to the blocks on cue with you and me setting it up.
But Milicevic got a good look, could not knock it down. But that really, the outside shooting, I think, is going to be something to pay attention to tonight.
They don't turn the basketball over that much also, so that's one of the keys is they'll come down. Richard Pitino talking to us and earlier today saying we look for good shots, but we don't really drive it and lose it that often.
Again, this is their leading scorer, Palick, and a nice finish for Keith Palick III.
Yeah, and if you haven't done your scouting report just then, and Carroll, I think, was aware of him obviously being a lefty there, but just really set it up perfectly, pushing him to the right.
Palick, one of several Division II transfers for Missouri State and Conzo Martin. And again, they're off to a 4-4 start. There is Carroll coming off that big game against Cincinnati, and he knocks down the triple.
Just on a roll. That's all they can say about him, is that he's been consistent all season long. He's their leader right now, and they look to go to him in a variety of spots on the floor.
Well, you said a double figures in every game, all 10 of them so far this year for the Musketeers. Here's Palick again, navigating inside, and he's got all 4 for the Bears.
Yeah, notice both ways, too, to Brandon going to his left both times. So as a defender, you have to jump that.
There's the three-point shooting we're talking about. First, it's Carroll, and there it's Jovan Milicevic.
And notice how quickly they get that shot off in their sets. They move the ball very, very well, and if somebody's open, you're supposed to let it rip.
One thing to watch, too, is tempo. Missouri State, one of the slower tempos in Division I basketball. Xavier, one of the faster ones. Oh, a foul. So Zaxton King gets bumped, and he's going to have 3 free throws. That's an errant foul by Borovichinen.
And a nice look by Palick across the court, too, just spreading them out.
Richard Pitino, back-to-back NCAA tournaments at New Mexico, and now in his first season here in the Big East with the Xavier Musketeers.
Doesn't look old enough to be around that long, does he?
No, you noted that earlier when we were talking to him. He's 43, but he looks like he's 33.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, of course, his dad at St. John's, so they're going to get to square off a couple of times this year. But they had a rocky start to the season, an ugly loss to Santa Clara, but Xavier is starting, I think, to turn a corner.
Yeah, and I think with speaking to Richard also, we had a chance to speak to him, ask him about what does he think a month is going to look like for this team? Where is he going to be in 4 or 5 weeks? And he didn't answer it initially real fast, but I think he's okay with where he is right now, which means that I think he's going to be okay in 5 weeks from now.
Well, like most Division I programs, a lot of transfers that they're trying to get to gel together. There's Carroll again. That one drops as well for Trey Carroll.
Now, obviously, hitting a couple of shots from the outside, you have to go out and challenge him, but he's not afraid to put it on the deck and go by you, set you up a little bit.
Xavier makes over 10 threes a game. They've hit 3 already, and there defensively, Borovichinen with a block. Leads the break, gives to Carroll. Carroll can't finish.
Yeah, just a touch out of control at the end there. It was a beautiful spin.
Zaxton King, dangerous pass, knocked out of bounds.
Missouri State looking fairly comfortable so far.
Conzo Martin, their head coach. Second year of his second stint. He was there from 2008 to 2011. Then the 3 high major jobs, Tennessee, Cal, and Mizzou, and now back at Missouri State. Cutting it on the angle, Kobe Williams. Now kicks it out. Here's Palick. Blocked. Carroll got a piece of it.
Yeah, good weak side help, too. Twice in a row just then on that one possession. Nice
and a block on the other end. Cameron Boone with a rejection.
That's what he's in there to do. He came in with 10 so far in the 10 games.
Yeah, he's not a scorer, number 20, but he can defend. Palick thought he got fouled. No whistle. Borovichinen inside the Serbian connection as he finds Milicevic, and Milicevic to the stripe.
Yeah, it's a little tricky pass out front just then also because he waited enough to allow his partner to get down there to set himself up and get it over the top. Watch this little bit of delay. He sees him, he looks away. Perfect positioning underneath.
Not only are those two from Serbia, number 4 and number 24, Borovicinen and Milicevic, but those are the two guys that transferred with Richard Pitino from New Mexico. So it gives him some stability and some continuity from that system he was running out there.
Yeah, especially he mentioned in the locker room also. So when Richard starts speaking about things in the locker room, he has support. Other players will notice that, and they all start to gel and come together a little bit with chemistry.
And if they want to talk bad about their head coach, they just do it in Serbia.
Wow.
Well, that's the second time that they have fouled a three-point shooter. This time it'll be Kobe Williams to the line.
Brandon, I've often asked the question, how often do you see guys block those shots? Now it happens, but here you see him. He's coming to the left side of a shooter who's a right-handed shooter. You got to drift. If you're going to take a shot, you have to drift towards the shooter's strong hand and maybe get a deflection. But more and more times you see guys jumping to try to block three-point shots. I just don't see it percentage-wise.
And that foul was on a guy named All Right, and not the name you want there when you're fouling a three-point shooter.
My son Andrew brought that up to me too, the football player in our house. And why do they jump and try to block threes? I said, you're the football guy, but I think you got that one right.
You're onto something, son.
Watch how quickly they move this ball. There's it.
Borovicinen getting inside, can't finish.
You know, some teams play when you catch the ball, you have a couple of seconds to make a decision. That's kind of how Xavier plays it right now. It's going to go the other way with a rolling screen.
Yeah, they're going to get Cameron Boone his first.
You'll see him out front here. He's a little late getting there. Yep. He's late, and that right leg just kind of leaned out too. So once there's officials see that right leg go out beyond the base of your shoulders, it's an easier call.
Borovicinen. Carroll's had the hot hand early. Faces up on Palick.
And they double team and a nice release pass.
Right inside with the right hand.
Well, and that extra dribble from the corner there with an explosion into his last step allowed him enough strength to get to the other side of the glass.
So that kid named All Right, he was in the Missouri Valley last year with Missouri State. All Right played at Valpo, but now Missouri State has switched conferences. First year in Conference USA.
Nice ball fake out front.
Can he finish? That was nifty, but it fell off.
He put on some funny spin on that, didn't it?
Too much English. Carroll's so good at getting to his spots.
Yeah, and he has a jump right hook too down there too.
Stripped by Trey Williams Jr. Gives it up to Kobe Williams, no relation. And then the putback by Darion Sutton. Sutton, the Georgia Tech transfer, a sophomore for Conzo Martin.
Yeah, so for the first 5 minutes, they've shown the team collective confidence.
In the corner, Milicevic short.
Good work down low, too, by Trey Williams with blocking out on Carroll.
Missouri State, Conzo Martin wondering how would they weather that early storm through the first 5+ minutes. They're hanging in there. Palick looking to give him the lead, but he cannot. Offensive board to Williams.
Pretty good action away from the ball with their high curl cuts.
And now Williams lets it fly way off the mark. A chance at another offensive rebound. Williams short. Nothing going down for the Bears.
There's a matchup problem right here.
And Carroll spinning. And a rebound to Palick. They've got numbers if they push.
Right down the middle.
And a good drop off.
Pretty.
And we are tied at 13. Richard Pitino does not like the effort, and he's going to take a timeout.
And Coach Martin likes what he sees over there.
Missouri State
transfer portal with the hopes that he could be their best player. It was the massive changes he made in the offseason that got him ready to play at this level. The biggest adjustment, guys, was his diet. He had to cut out his beloved ice cream and donuts, no eating after 9 p.m., and getting in the weight room. It all contributed to Carroll shredding 18 pounds of fat while gaining muscle. Last year, guys, at FAU, he played about 22 minutes a game. This year, all the way up to 32 minutes a night. Carroll told me he feels the difference late in games when he's able to push through fatigue, guys.
You could see that late in the game against Cincinnati. He was kind of not only the scorer, Jim, but the energizer bunny.
Absolutely. Plenty of energy, especially that's where you want it in the last 4 minutes of the game. But I'm okay with giving up the donuts.
What about Skyline Chili?
Skyline Chili, you need a chaser of ice cream, too. So.
Yeah, it's tough to give up the ice cream.
Yeah.
But look, he has changed himself in his game. It's been tremendous so far this year. But Missouri State right now, they're kind of the aggressor tonight.
They're holding their own. Nice defensive effort in the middle of the floor there with Cunningham coming away with it. They just got to keep action. You see the action. They're just going to continue to run their action and hope they can hit a couple outside shots.
Lost track of Palick for a second, and he gets all the way to the basket.
And he's got some crafty moves, that's for sure. He knows when to stop on a dime and let people go by him.
He's got 6. He averages 16. Carroll a little much. Offensive rebound for Njai.
Pretty good reaction, though, defensively after that offensive get.
All right, gets in, kicks it up top. Njai, this is not necessarily his game. The 7-footer misses it.
Well, Missouri State knew coming in that they were not as tall as Xavier. But they have 4 guys on the defensive glass that are just hanging around looking for the opportunities to retrieve the ball.
They're not as tall, they're not as big, and they're also missing their strongest player, and Michael Osei-Bonsu, the 280-pound senior, is out with a knee issue tonight, but they're still on top. But Carroll gets the steal right there for Xavier.
Yeah, good hands in the passing lane.
6-0 run for the Bears. Xavier just 1 for their last 10. They've gone cold.
Yeah, just straight up man-to-man with some perimeter switching. Nothing fancy, though. There's that double team again. Nice work.
Good hands by Logan Epps, the senior transfer.
Yeah, that was Sutton again coming from nowhere on the weak side. There, anytime Carroll goes to the blocks, they're going to run an extra guy at him. He's a good passer from the blocks, though, too.
There's Zaxton King. He's a good shooter. Cuts inside, back up to Palick. Palick by Njai. Count it. And the foul for Keith Palick III.
Yeah, and that's an unfair play to try to defend just then because he caught that ball on the move.
He's kind of a football player in a basketball player's, or a basketball player in a football player's body.
Yep. I just like the attitude right now that Missouri State came. Coach Martin said before the game, we just want them to play hard. You know, every single game, dedicate yourself to being ready to play.
Conzo Martin, been around a long time. Of course, great player at Purdue back in the day. He's a defensive-minded coach, though. He wants them to lock down on this end. Roddy Anderson, little 10-footer rolls off. Torn away by Milicevic. What an offensive rebound.
Yeah, they've had their share of shots in here in the paint that haven't gone in. Finally.
That one rattles down for Roddy Anderson, who redshirted last year after transferring in from Boise State. So he is the only returning scholarship player. There's a bump, and they're going to call an offensive foul.
Conzo not sure of that one right there. That was a funny exchange out front.
They got that man Kobe Williams with his first personal, and Palick will get a breather.
And Kobe Williams, I think, was as surprised as anybody.
Driving in on the angle, kicking it out. 3-pointer off the mark for Walker. Williams to the deck, tie up, and the arrow will send it the other way.
That was a good example of them getting back. Missouri State, the Bears, just hanging around the glass and making sure there's 1 or 2 guys every time that ball comes off.
We talked about the size advantage for Xavier, although the Musketeers have not rebounded it very well this year. That's been a little bit of an Achilles heel for Richard Pitino.
And overall, they're in almost a -2 off the glass, as you just touched on.
Down inside, affected by Milicevic, knocked out. It'll stay with Missouri State.
Nice effort by Milicevic just then. Watch him close. Forces the double clutch. Two Xavier players wanted it to be challenged.
But instead, not only do they not get the ball, it's Missouri State getting an easy bucket inside with Sutton. And that left Richard Pitino just shaking his head over there. Now 14 paint points for the Bears.
Joe switches out front. Little help there by Boone. Same thing here. He'll hedge, come out, now he stays. So they can go to the mismatch down low if they want it.
Jovan Milicevic, sophomore, gives it up, but a miss at the rim by Walker.
Wow, look at this stuff.
Got lucky to get it back.
Yeah, two of them.
It's an unorthodox shot from Walker, but he hits it at a high clip. He missed there, and it goes back to Missouri State. Well, you know, you had the game here. It was a week ago today if you're Xavier. You had the rivalry game against Cincinnati. A little bit of a different atmosphere tonight. A quote-unquote lesser opponent, and I'm sure Richard Pitino not very happy so far.
Yeah, you have that week off, if you will. Gave them a couple of days off, but overall you try to build on that and get them back into a game situation to play. There's 3-on-1 numbers.
A steal by Messina Moore and the dunk by Borovicevic.
Good move there by Williams. Just get out of the way, give up 2 points on the turnover on a 3-on-1 break. But trying to get them motivated to get back into that framework of last week. I watched that on television, and that look, this atmosphere in that building is not what it is right here.
Yeah, that crosstown shootout, one of the most underrated rivalries in college hoops. Foul on Xavier.
So if you're not careful with the basketball, they will jump you. Good work outside, and you can just see this delayed break coming at you on the 3-on-1 with the finish. Little spread of the floor, unselfish play. You want to see Messina Moore. Great assist guy for them.
Yeah, Richard Pitino loves Malik Messina Moore. He actually leads the conference right now in assist-to-turnover ratio. Almost taken away. Pallett keeps it. Drive and dish.
Nice catch.
Pinballs to King. Pallett offensive rebound.
That was a great catch by King. I'm not so sure how he caught that ball when it was deflected. Here comes their high screen action, too. Trey Williams has to make good decisions either way.
Trey Williams is a true freshman point guard from outside of St. Louis. Woo! That was deep. Carroll knocked it in the air. Milicevic grabs it. Starts the break. Euro step. Yes. Tough finish for the Serbian.
Sure was. When you do that Euro step like you mentioned, Brandon, just then, you generally do it going towards the basket. He kind of went east to west on that. Still got off a nice soft shot.
Williams lines it up. Rebound to Carroll.
Shot selection has to be better for Missouri State.
They have not hit a three. The Bears are 0 for 6 from downtown. Good pass. Carroll, yes! And the foul. Anderson with a nice feed into Carroll.
Still finishes it off.
One thing Richard Pitino said about these Musketeers, when they're clicking, they are sharing the basketball, and they have 7 assists on 8 made field goals so far as his team regains the lead.
Average just under 19 assists per game.
That's their strength. They don't have the size, but they can shoot it, they can distribute it.
And not turn it over.
Yes, like you said, only 9 a game. That's a great number. King gives it up top. Pallett thought about it. Gives up a good shot for a great shot, and Williams ties it, or rather gives Missouri State the lead.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you think about the last 3 minutes for Missouri State, they did not make that extra pass to make life easier for them. Good example. Now they show a zone the first time, a 2-3 zone. Somebody's got a flash to the middle.
And it does tie the game, by the way. The score bug was off.
Now they switch back to a man-to-man.
Offensive rebound.
Yep, there's the size going to work.
Anderson drives, and a rebound comes down to Palick.
They got some numbers if they hurry.
Cross-court skip. Kobe Williams, another St. Louis kid. That's where Conzo Martin is from. He's got 5 of those kids on his roster. Pitino wanted to travel, no whistle.
Hey, they're not afraid to mix it up. Missouri State, they are bumping and pounding.
And Sutton can't get it. Body hits the deck, and finally Roddy Anderson with a rebound. Carroll kicks to the corner. There's Messina Moore.
Right up.
Yeah, Carroll's just too big. How about all right?
We're getting looks. Getting plenty of looks, just not putting them away at a high rate.
Well, they were hitting them early from downtown. They were 3 of 4 from deep, Xavier, but they missed their last 5 from out there. Sutton looks to penetrate, but he just lost it out of bounds. 5th turnover on Missouri State.
Now, when they make the extra pass, they're much better in their half-court sets. Here's one little fake, a second pass, wide open jumper from the corner. Very good execution. Conzo Martin squad.
And he said at shoot-around, look, right now our numbers from three-point land are under 30%. He feels they're a much better shooting team than that. They started cold, but starting to heat up a bit.
Yeah, I think you can tell to that point, Brandon, the fact that they, even though they're missing, they can shoot. They're looking at their shooting with confidence.
Messina Moore fading away. Palick grabs it. So Missouri State coming in 4-4. They got blitzed a week ago at Tulsa, lost by over 20, but much better showing so far tonight. Blocked by Carroll, his 3rd tonight.
Whoop.
And then an errant pass, and Xavier will get it back.
Guys, Conzo Martin wants his team to scratch and claw and fight. He wants them to play like they're in a street fight. So what does he do? He shows them different motivational films, such as Mike Tyson getting knocked out by Buster Douglas. Shows them videos of wolves going at each other. He said it doesn't register for him for a guy to go out there and just have a good time. He said, listen, it's a beautiful game, but it's ugly in the trenches, and you have to be ready for battle.
Yeah, just talking to him today, you can sense it's like when he played at Purdue, Jim. He was a tough player. He's a tough coach.
No question about it. And he demands excellence from these guys, both on the floor and in the classroom. If you can't go to the classroom, you can't come here and play. So nice combination of the way he looks at things.
He still talks admirably about his coach, the great Gene Cady, there at Purdue. Taken away by All Right. His legal name is Andre, but yes, he goes by All Right, and his brother goes by Always Right. That is not a joke. That is real. They give it away here to the Bears.
That's something I'm not in my house always right, by the way.
Especially around the holidays, right? But 2 very talented players.
That's good work.
Yeah,
good
there's
work.
a talented player. Keith Palick's having a great game.
Yeah, he had an opportunity to pitch that out to the 3-point line, but he stayed with it. And that's a good call, I think. He lost control of the ball, but gathered it back.
Cincinnati, but also went over West Virginia as well. Around the arc, here's Messina Moore. Now All Right will reset. Borovichinic. Milicevic off the shot fake for 3.
Just a very, very patient offensive set just then.
Jovan Milicevic having a breakout season after a very small role last year at New Mexico with Richard Pitino, but he is a guy that is counted on big time this season. And a foul on the floor before the shot. Well, cheer on your favorite Big East teams with officially licensed fan gear for the best selection of team apparel and accessories. Go to shopncaasports.com today.
And that shot just then, even though it was called on the floor, that was an example of what the rule change is looking like. You notice how he tried to continuation play just to get his shot off, but Brian O'Connell calling it quickly and accurately.
And now we get another whistle.
Was it for the clock?
Yeah, it's for the clock. There was no foul there. They're just trying to get the clock set. But yeah, it's a good point to remind people with that quote-unquote continuation. You get to finish that step if you are going toward the goal, and that can be in the act of shooting.
As soon as you gather,
yes,
you get that extra. Whereas last year, that was not the case. That would always be on the floor. Nice drive.
That was. Darion Sutton, that's the kid that was at Georgia Tech last year. A lot of athleticism in his body.
We got a lost shoe.
Yeah, Palick blew a tire in the backcourt. He's got to go pick that up. Well, we weren't sure if Missouri State could hang in there given without Bonsu and some of their size limitations, but up one. We've already had 10 lead changes. Pretty entertaining first half.
You're watching as he starts to go back the other end. There we go, little flat tire.
Carroll stepped on it. He just said, I'll get rid of it and deal with it later.
Here we go with the action out front. A lot of perimeter flashing outside.
Messina Moore into the paint and right to the rack.
Right, that exit movement outside is going to free up some driving lanes right there. You just have to be patient enough to go from both sides of the floor, and sooner or later that will open up.
First bucket by Malik Messina Moore, who was at Montana last year, led him into the NCAA tournament. Elbow jumper, no good for Williams. Oh, but this time Messina Moore, who we talked about, rarely turns it over with a bad pass.
And that last trip down the floor from Missouri State, Palick had the basketball, and Richard Pitino's team, they threw 3 guys in his direction trying to get him to release the ball. Missouri State got a pretty good shot out of it from a free throw line jumper that they have to make a good percentage of those to hang around all night long.
Zaxton King. Now here is Palick. Leads him with 10 points.
Nice look.
It was, and Epps able to finish. Yeah, but credit number 10, Darion Sutton there.
And Palick with the initial pass to the post, so 3 guys involved in the middle of the floor just then, but that was a dandy of a pass to Sutton.
They continue to go back and forth here in the first half as we approach 1 minute. Philip Borovichinen.
Nothing's easy for Xavier.
Palick all over it. Tries to get to his spot. Fades. Oh, the bank is open. Did he mean to do it?
I'm not sure on that one. I'll say yes, though, because it went in. It looked good.
That's a guy who started at Arizona under Tommy Lloyd. Didn't get a lot of playing time. Played for Richard Pitino last year at New Mexico, and then followed him here to Cincinnati.
So he's a little different going to his right hand, isn't he? Not as effective, not as a strong power move.
They got a good shot out of it. Rebound is Xavier.
Oh, there's a lane wide open.
Milicevic, no, got a good look.
Yeah, he had a layup if he wanted it, though.
There's about a 6-second difference here, shot and game clock.
Yeah, no foul to give, though. Missouri State with 6.
Malik Messina Moore drops it off inside. A bucket by Milicevic. Final seconds of the half, and we are going to get a foul. That is the 6th, so no free throws here. Part of the game of basketball.
See if they can get somebody just with the quick push right here.
It's going to be Trey Williams driving it right to the rim. Oh, got a pretty good look. A tight game of the first half. 13 lead changes. And it's Xavier up by 3, 31-28 as we hit the break. 12 points for Jovan Milicevic to lead the way for Richard Pitino and company. Well, the clock says 0.3 remaining. I don't think that's right, so they're going to have to change it. And Trey Carroll almost broke our broadcast position over here, sitting on the table. So we got a lot going on.
Yeah, I like the way you picked up on that clock was not right, too. You were right on it.
That's 0.3. I was like, no, I'm no math major, but it was a quick second half.
That's it. Off we go.
Off we go.
Jared do a post game, and I guess we're gone.
As Jared mentioned, final non-conference tune-up for the Musketeers before they step in a Big East play Wednesday against Creighton. Up top, there's Carroll. That's just how the first half began, with Carroll hitting a triple.
Very comfortable from that range also. Stretching it a little bit for a +6 now for Xavier. I think in his first 5, 6, 7 minutes, Missouri State has to make sure they don't make many mistakes.
What a get Trey Carroll was in the portal. And the answer from Keith Palak. So the two leading scorers getting the buckets to start the second half.
Yeah, both the lefties stepping out in stride.
Palak, even though he's transferring up from Division II basketball where he played the last 4 years in Pennsylvania, he's clearly not afraid of this stage. In rhythm, Borovicinen off the mark. Offensive rebound, though. And that one drops for Milicevic.
Well, he had the size advantage over there, too, on the left side of the floor. He just that time just turned away from the defender.
I mentioned both of those guys from Serbia, but Milicevic actually born in Canada, but his parents are from Serbia before coming to the U.S. And Palak, ooh, that one did everything but drop.
How did that not go down?
Quick passing, open look, and right from downtown.
And this is a big possession right here from Missouri State. That was the good ball movement that we talked about in the first half with Xavier. I like the timeout, just to resettle a little bit so this doesn't get out of control. Major reason that he did that was he didn't want to see a quick 7-2 burst from this point on. He was trying to make sure he gets his guys together. This will be a play that they go to, you know, in terms of one of their better plays in terms of the set. Because they need a bucket right now to slow Xavier down a little bit.
This has been the guy on offense, Palak. He hands it off to Kobe Williams. And things a little stagnant right now.
Pretty well defended by Xavier to this point.
But poorly defended there. Darion Sutton right to the basket.
He's really stepped up his game for this night. Really going after it a bit.
And he has kind of been the Robin to Palak's Batman. Sutton now has 10. Carroll, the FAU transfer. Borovicinen, drive and dish. Messina Moore with 5 on the timer. In the lane and fouled by Trey Williams Jr. Neither side got into the bonus in the first half, so there's not been a lot of whistles so far in this ball game. Nobody has more than 2 personals. Trouble getting it in.
Yeah, they missed the layup on the first cut, too. I don't know what they were looking away from. There's that flare cut over to the left.
Milicevic will sling baseball pass. Messina Moore tried to slip it underneath, but he threw it away.
Yeah, what caused that actually was that he lost his balance a little bit and then just didn't hold up his delivery.
5 turnovers for Xavier. I told you earlier they only had 4 in that entire game against Cincinnati. That was the fewest number of turnovers in a game for a Musketeer team in 6 seasons.
Yeah, you'll win a lot of games without the turnovers.
Palak with the right hand this time.
How about the way he looked that ball to the left side of the floor and got his defender just to slide a touch. Not the quickest going to his right hand compared to the left, but a good delivery.
And Palak, good find for Conzo Martin out of Division II ball in Pennsylvania.
Guys, Coach Martin found him because he looks for D2 players, guys that are diamonds in the rough. And I talked to Keith Pallick this morning. He said he only got 3 official Division I offers, only took 2 visits. The other, aside from Missouri State, was UNC Asheville. Ultimately loved playing for Martin Style, loved the old school approach. And man, it's worked out well.
He's a guy clearly that they need again, especially with Bonsu out. Pallick is not only the guy that can score it, but he's a physical presence for them.
Yeah, averaging 17 points and just about 7 rebounds a game. And a leader out there for it because he's a trigger man for them in their offense.
Sutton trying to attack Milicevic. Wild shot.
Yep, sure was. It was a wild drive, too.
Messina Moore pushes out to right. Right on the penetration. Fading, that's a tough shot. Doesn't get the bounce. Offensive board, Milicevic. And Messina Moore fading, and they're going to get a foul that time, and 2 free throws when we get back to Cincinnati. Ought to get a breather, and 2 at the line for the senior from Ventura, California, Malik Messina Moore.
So much of the officiating, too, Brandon, is being in the right spot at the right time. Everybody talks about the players and their half-court sets and being in the right spot at the right time, but the officials have to work to get that also.
I mentioned Brian O'Connell, very veteran official to the college game. That one rattles down, Xavier by 6.
It's also a time right now where Missouri State has to continue to answer. They've been pretty good at it in the last 3 minutes or so.
This is their go-to guy, Pallick. Stripped, taken away, that time by Filip Borovichinin. Richard Pitino saying he does a little bit of everything. 8.5 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He loves what Borovichinin brings to his team. Trey Carroll back to Borovichinin. 3 on the way, yes.
Nice work there, not only by the entire Xavier team, but Carroll also with that extra pass. Borovichinin just really confident, too, when he gets that stride, his little step in with that ball on the way. You can tell he's getting ready to shoot it.
Pallick never shy. Rebound comes down to Anderson.
Got to be careful time right now for Missouri State.
Neither team is led by double figures. That can change right here. Down inside. Pop Njai, not a big score. Messina Moore spinning. The ball moving, Chris.
Yeah, selfish play.
Wow, way too much there from Anderson.
Way too much on that one.
There's Missouri State going to get that offensive production. That's not going to help. Offensive foul on Cameron Boone, and that's his 3rd.
I'll tell you where they would get some of that scoring would be Osei Bonsu, who's not on the floor, not playing in this game. But here's this nice work. See the stride, he getting his footwork set before that ball gets to him. He knows he's going to be shooting it, so it's automatic. Get your feet prepped for the jump shot.
Borovichinin and Milicevic celebrating each other after that triple. And this time from way outside, it rattles down for Messina Moore. Largest lead for the Musketeers.
Yeah, don't you think right now, without Osei Bonsu on the floor, the last 2 or 3 times, you'd be thinking they
8 straight empty possessions, 4 turnovers in those 8 possessions, so they got to figure something out on this end.
Look at the pressure on the perimeter. That's why Missouri State is struggling, to your point, Brandon.
Richard Pitino's club turning up the defensive intensity. King, a good shooter. Can he get himself free? He cannot. Now Williams. Oh! I don't know if that was a block or just a grab by Njai. And on the leak out, a slam for Walker.
Well, you can't call timeout again. You have to play through this and hope somebody steps up.
And only 1 timeout remaining for Conzo Martin. It's a 12-0 run right now for Xavier after that.
I promise you there, no question about it. But Coach Pitino knew how important that was, how important that win against the Bearcats was for this program, for the fans, for the community. He said he walked in the back door, nobody saw him coming, but he was in and out of there in just 5 minutes. So Jimmy, my question is, what time do you want to meet me at Dana's tonight?
Well, whenever you're ready, that's for sure. I mean, but you notice how he didn't buy dinner for anybody in that place, because I don't think anybody was eating.
No. Well, he did say to us, as Jared was kind of alluding to, you know, I knew about the Xavier-Cincinnati rivalry, but his first time living it, he didn't realize how big of a deal it was. These people around here take it seriously, and right now their Musketeers are feeling it. Borovichinen, and now it's a 19-point lead.
Yeah, I think collectively Missouri State is just saying to themselves, what just happened in the last 4 minutes of this game?
Whatever Richard Pitino said at half to wake his club up, it is working. You know, that's a cool moment. Richard Pitino, he comes here, he's trying to establish things and set a new culture. Not that it was bad, it was good with Sean Miller. Sean Miller, though, wasn't here very long.
Yep.
He leaves, and so now you got to start all over. You got all these new kids, but no better way to endear yourself to the student fan base than to buy them all around a drink.
Yeah, and there's a carryover effect on that. Maybe a hangover effect also the next day. I'm not sure about it, but, you know, even when the games are going in the wrong direction, you want the fans' support too, you know, and they'll remember that. This is just too easy.
Yeah, count that, and the foul against Cunningham. The wheels are coming off for the Bears.
And how about the release pass too? Watch how quickly he gets it up the floor. Just nice, easy, soft pass so you can catch up to it and finish it off.
Xavier indeed flexing their muscles right now. 56-35. That bar, by the way, Dana's, it is less than a half mile from here, and it is an institution. Anybody that went to Xavier is familiar with this program. They have walked through those doors. Battle for the board, knocked out of bounds, and it stays on this end.
Probably should have bought the drinks tonight because the students aren't around.
Yeah, finals just ended today, so most of them are gone.
This is the night we'll pick up the tab.
Yeah, instead of the $1,000 bill, we're looking at a $75 bill.
And we'll take that one.
If anybody's in the area, Jared Greenberg did promise he was going to buy all the locals over there a drink. They're open till 2, so head over there. Jared's also going to be providing some Skyline chili to the folks.
Ooh.
Just a man of the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part about it was check your back pocket. You might be missing something, Brendan.
It'll get declined, don't worry.
Yeah, that's it. It's been bouncing over to you, Jared.
Paddling down inside. Missouri State is trying to stop the bleeding. That'll help. There's Trey Williams from deep. That stops a 17-0 run.
Now you just have to muster up a couple of stops if you can.
Walker can't get it to go. Palick, too strong. Rebound to Anderson. He got hit in the mouth.
Yep, inadvertently right across the jaw.
Anderson, that's the kid who transferred from Boise State, sat out last year. Again, he was the only player who was here last year, but he sat under Sean Miller, and he misses the 3 there.
I think you slow one down if you miss Missouri State right now and just make sure you get to the line or a bucket right here.
Sutton just dribbled it a little out of control and turns it over. Well, don't miss the event that has been home to some of the most exciting moments in pro wrestling. Anything can happen on AEW Collision. Winter is coming straight from Cardiff, Wales. Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific on TNT, and stream also on HBO Max.
We have a little challenge here, possibly.
I think it is a coach's challenge for Conzo Martin. Remember, this year in college basketball, you get one. If you are right, you get another, and then that's it. You can't have more than two. The challenge is successful, so Missouri State keeps their timeout. And again, now that means Missouri State has one challenge remaining.
And that's the end.
That is it. We'll see if college basketball tweaks that moving forward, but that'll be the rule for the rest of this year.
I think it's good to keep the game moving.
Yes.
You know, the pace of the game without that many stoppages to review everything.
Yeah, it's on those out-of-bounds calls where there were so many stoppages in the tournament last year. I think they felt they needed to clean it up. Panic misses.
And he gets that soft jumper off in traffic just then. Just a little wide right. Nice move to just free himself up down this end.
Messina Moore sees a lane, and the putback good from Isaiah Walker. That's a guy who went to Belmont, Isaiah Walker, but he's a Cincinnati native. He went to high school just 8 miles north of the Cintas Center, so that's a little something extra for him putting on that Xavier jersey every night. And Palick does get that one.
Yeah, so you have to guess that he's going to go to that strong left hand of his. Xavier not making many mistakes at either end of the floor.
Palick 17 and 10, trying to keep Missouri State as close as he can, but it has slipped away from them here in the second half. Messina Moore. And a rebound secured by Williams.
Yeah, the other thing about Xavier, when they have this big lead and the way they play, and without turning the ball over, it takes a lot of time off the shot, the game clock.
We talked about it earlier, Jim, but 17 assists for Xavier, just 5 turnovers. Those numbers excellent.
Yep, sure.
That's kind of been the story of the season for them, and they've been successful. Williams got the bigger defender on him, just hoists it up at the end of the clock.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. He knew he had a tall guy on him, the clock against him, so 2 things were going wrong.
And too strong in there, Jovan Milicevic.
Yeah, the isolations are starting to pay off too for Xavier. Little fast break transitions, little post-up action, but their passing is terrific.
Missouri State, in their first year in Conference USA, in their final non-conference test, starting to run out of gas here on the road. Palick does get bumped.
And then some.
And then some. Down he goes. Down goes Frey.
Can win some games. Obviously, UConn is a challenge there in the middle of those 5.
They were picked with Xavier near the bottom of the Big East in the preseason, but with how college basketball is these days, and you get 11 transfers, no freshmen in the rotation, it's harder to predict in the preseason what's going to happen.
There's no question about that. I mean, it's just who's smart enough to predict how fast these guys will come together. I mean, even if you speak to any coach at the beginning of the year, probably the canned answer is, I'm not sure what I have yet.
All right with a bucket. And again, Richard Pitino's team, they struggled a little bit out of the gates. Lost by 19 to Santa Clara, 19 to Iowa. But then they found their footing, and they have looked a lot better since. And a bump there against Trey Carroll.
Guys, Coach Pitino told us this morning that he said when they lost to Georgia, it was like a light switch moment for this group. But it was the change that Coach made a few games earlier that really put this squad in position to now win 4 straight. Into the 4th game of the season, he shifted Jovan Milicevic to the 5 and Trey Carroll to the 4. And while he had played some center in high school, it was really the first time Milicevic at the college level had played the 5. He said he's loved what this has done, not for him necessarily, but for his teammates, opening the floor And this guy that we're looking at now embraces the physicality to play the center. And they're a few moments away, guys, from improving to 6-2 since moving Milicevic to the center position.
Yeah, and Richard Pitino telling us, Jim, that obviously at times that can cause a mismatch for us on defense, but it creates so much more offensively.
Yeah, and I think he'd be the first to say with that play right there, it wasn't just a straight up post play, a high-low action, and Carroll delivered the pass to him. But it's more or less a motion offense with these guys playing out, and then it sets up the high-low, and they've executed that twice in the last 4 minutes.
And Milicevic, he can be a matchup problem. That'll be something to watch in Big East play. Down inside and a strong finish for Williams.
Powell with that delivery from the top of the key there also. Their version of the high-low to a smaller guy.
Powell 21 and 10, and now an assist on that last play. Right from the corner.
So if you're on this team, you know you're getting that extra pass. And Wright knew it and just was ready to deliver the shot. And very unselfish play here, for the most part, but in the second half in particular.
Xavier 6 of 11 from downtown this half. They now hit 10 threes. That is a tough finish for Darion Sutton. You're starting to see how he was a top 100 recruit out of high school before going to Georgia Tech. Carroll, no. But Carroll rips it out.
Oh, watch out.
And then a foul inside. And the strength of Trey Carroll.
Yeah, take a look at this finish here. Defender out of position, standing straight up. What a great time to go by somebody when you lock their legs up. And that drive to the basket by Sutton, you're absolutely right in terms of the ability just on that one shot, showing it all.
From just outside of St. Louis, talked about the connection that Conzo Martin has with those guys from St. Louis. That was a big reason that Darion Sutton felt comfortable transferring to Missouri State after his freshman year at Georgia Tech last season. Well, the NHL on TNT returns Tuesday. Oilers and Penguins first at 7:30, and then the Avalanche, the Kraken at 10 Eastern. And then Wednesday, Mammoth and Red Wings, followed by the Devils and Golden Knights. Coverage begins again 7 Eastern. Watch all the action on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. Carroll unable to get either, but still an 18-point lead. Battle for the board, and it's ripped down by Borovichinic.
This is where they're tough because most of these guys can bring it down the floor. They can rebound it and dribble it down by themselves. Initiates some fast break and some spread action very quickly. Nice look in the backdoor cut.
It's one of the helps of the smaller lineup. Good defense there by Sutton. Up ahead to King, who's had a pretty quiet night. Over the top, Powell waits and draws the foul on Milicevic.
He's got a nice little hesitation game when he's going towards the basket. Watch him on this play with the hesitation. Fake, but then he stops, and he just waits for you to commit, and then he goes into his action to get to the foul line.
Oh, look, they're a little overmatched tonight, but when they get Michael Osei-Bonsu, their big man back, and you pair him with Powell, Jim, they're going to be formidable in Conference USA.
Sure, I agree with you. There he is right there in the middle, a black T-shirt on, but the key becomes putting him on the post, right? It opens up, as Conzo Martin said, with him on the post, he's a good passer too. You get some wide open shots. So this perimeter defense that we're seeing from Xavier would not be as relentless on the perimeter if he was in the post. They would force the action to collapse a little bit. And consequently, that's why they've been struggling to shoot the ball from the three-point line.
3 of 13 tonight. As we said, under 30% on the year from deep for Missouri State. It's been a struggle. Meanwhile, for Xavier, they're hitting threes from everywhere. That's their 11th of the game.
That's their game, too.
Approaching 4 minutes. And a whistle. Foul on the floor.
So he takes that ball. I like the way he brings that out in front of him to get his rhythm going when he's wide open over there on the right side. Interesting matchup, though.
That guy, Filip Borovichnin, he is just 3 assists from a triple-double. 13 points after that three. He's got 11 rebounds and 7 assists as the native of Belgrade, Serbia.
Plays like he's smaller than 6'9" at times, too, with the way he can handle and push the ball up and passing. Sometimes he looks like he's 6'5", but then he extends himself. Oh, little variation of shots there.
One that died on the back of the rim, the other hit the backboard. 1 and 2.
A little different flavor of ice cream there again. Like right now, he doesn't look like he's 6'9".
Is that assist number 8? No. Pretty good pass.
Yep, sure was.
Borovichnin, also a guy that has a great relationship with Richard Pitino, as we mentioned. They came together from New Mexico. Blocked by Njai.
I think he got that with his elbow, it looked like.
In the first half, he just kind of caught one. That one with the elbow. A little over 3 minutes until Xavier gets their 5th win of the season, barring something crazy here at the Cintas Center. Jumper no good. Rebound to Njai. Interesting when they play Creighton here Wednesday. Creighton has Kansas State tomorrow. That's a team that's trying to find itself. Also a 3-point shooting team. Should be a fun matchup. Foul inside, and Carroll will go to the line. Njai, a couple good. And Jared has more on the guy at the line, Trey Carroll.
Guys, it's a rare home game when Trey Carroll's wife is not at the game, but it's for good reason. Trey telling me that Suron is in Florida to attend the college graduation of her mother-in-law, Trisha Carroll, who's Trey's mom. Trey's mom, as you see the shoe, he always has her with him. Trey's mom is earning her bachelor's degree this weekend from Florida Gulf Coast, and with that diploma, guys, she will earn a job as an elementary school gym teacher. We want to send congratulations to Trey's mom and to everybody celebrating this weekend. I'm sure they're enjoying this performance by Xavier tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats to her, and very cool of Suron to be down there.
Yep, sure is.
And they got married this last offseason, so the transfer to Xavier brought a lot of change for Trey Carroll. But he has known his now wife since they were in the 5th grade. Long-time friends, and then started to date, now married. Out of bounds, it belongs to Missouri State. And Richard Pitino is saying it's not just the marriage, but he's a mature kid besides that, and you can tell what all he brings to this team. He's very talented. And of course, he was part of the Final Four team at Florida Atlantic, so he's seen a lot of college basketball.
A lot of experience.
Splitting the defenders. King rejected. There's Njai again. And Sutton just flings it up there.
Look up, you get a layup.
Anderson, a layup indeed.
Njai gets around a little bit, doesn't he?
He's been all over that side defensively. A few block shots for number 22.
Forcing a few hurries, too.
Yes. Yeah, altering everything at the rim. A guy who grew up playing soccer in the Ivory Coast and nearly got a steal right there. Offensive rebound, Boone. And that time, Njai with the foul that will put Boone at the line. you were not with us in the first half, there were 10 lead changes. Xavier got up by 3 at intermission, but Richard Pitino had a, I'm sure, spirited meeting at intermission, and it was all Xavier in the second half. Well, Bleacher Report, your one-stop destination for all things college basketball. Get live scores, breaking news, and highlights from all the games. Download the BR app now. Carroll's night is done. Another double-figure performance for him, 13 and 7. But it felt like that 17-0 run that Xavier had happened in the blink of an eye, and then this ball game was over.
Yeah, you know, when you think about that, it absolutely did. They didn't know what hit him in that 7th. They went for two timeouts.
Well, that kid's a fan favorite. Ian Saban, the 4th-year walk-on, gets into the scoring column.
Look at him. I don't know what's better, watching him or watching the bench with the reactions. Classic.
He's an Ohio kid. What a moment for him, a senior.
Just buried it.
Answer on the other end by Cunningham. Now will Sabrin get another shot here? Let's see.
You know, there's great chemistry just because I think, to my eye, every single kid on that bench over there was standing up cheering.
Well, they want him to get another shot, that's for sure.
Where is he? Deep left corner. This guy will find him if he stays put.
Borovichnin instead this time. Anderson short. Sabrin trying to go for the board, and he's going to earn the possession back for Xavier.
I don't think it's going to matter. I think we're going to take the air out of this one.
Yeah, shot clock off, 10 seconds remaining. Get a couple shout outs at the film session tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You know?
Uh-oh, they want him to shoot it. I guarantee you he doesn't shoot it.
He's going to dribble out the final seconds.
He had Richard Pitino was looking right in his eyes, and those eyes said, don't even think about it.
Xavier pulls away in the second half. They have won 5 in a row.